If you look closely at the trajectory of a highly successful, financially secure life, you will almost never find a single dramatic moment of absolute genius. When ordinary people look at someone who has achieved genuine peace of mind and lasting wealth, they instinctively assume there must be a secret formula. They assume that person experienced a lucky lightning strike, possessed some rare insider knowledge, or executed a massive risky maneuver that changed their destiny overnight. But the reality of how a good life is actually built is far more boring and infinitely more powerful. True financial independence and emotional stability are simply the natural mathematical result of a few quiet, basic, daily habits repeated relentlessly over a decade. To understand why so many people fail to build this kind of life, we have to look at the immense pressure of the modern economy. The ordinary working person today is exhausted. You wake up early, you commute through heavy traffic, you spend 8 or 10 hours putting out minor fires for an employer, and you return home physically and mentally depleted. Meanwhile, the cost of groceries, housing, and basic necessities quietly creeps higher every single month. When you feel financially pressured, perpetually behind, and chronically tired, your brain naturally looks for an escape hatch. You do not want to hear about a 10-year plan that requires patience. You want a rescue. You want a quick fix that will alleviate the pressure by tomorrow morning. This deep, understandable desire for a quick rescue leads directly into what I call the illusion of the big leap. The modern media and the financial entertainment industry are perfectly designed to feed this illusion. They constantly broadcast stories of people who supposedly got rich quick by gambling on a speculative digital token, flipping a piece of real estate they could not actually afford, or dropping everything to launch a massive startup overnight. They sell you the idea that success is a lottery and that if you just take one massive, highly leveraged risk, you can skip the hard work and instantly arrive at the finish line. But the mathematics of the big leap are incredibly dangerous for the ordinary person. When you attempt to leap over the fundamental steps of wealth building, you almost always end up sacrificing your baseline security. You take the modest savings you have worked so hard to accumulate, and you gamble them on something you do not fundamentally understand, simply because a neighbor or an internet personality said it was a sure thing. Or you buy into the toxic hustle culture that tells you to quit your stable job without a safety net and grind 20 hours a day until you succeed. More often than not, this big leap does not result in a miraculous victory. It results in a catastrophic fall. It wipes out your capital, destroys your peace of mind, and leaves you far further behind than when you started. The people who actually win the game of wealth and life do not play the lottery, and they do not attempt the big leap. They understand that a durable, unshakable life is not built through dramatic, risky gestures. It is built in the mundane. It is forged in the quiet moments of the day when nobody is watching. They recognize that time is the ultimate equalizer, and that if you align your daily behaviors with the law of compounding, time will do the heavy lifting for you. You do not need to be a financial genius, and you do not need to predict the future of the economy. You simply need to execute the boring fundamentals with absolute consistency. Today, we are going to strip away the noise, the hype, and the endless stream of bad internet advice. We are not going to talk about extreme morning routines that require you to wake up at 3 in the morning and take an ice bath. We are not going to discuss complex trading strategies or risky ways to leverage your money. Instead, we are going to look at 6 quiet, highly practical daily habits that actually work. These are the grounded behaviors that separate the people who remain perpetually trapped in a cycle of reaction from those who slowly, inevitably build a fortress of autonomy around their lives. These 6 habits are not empty motivational slogans. They are tangible actions you can begin taking today, regardless of your current income or your job title. We will look at how to defend the boundaries of your attention, how to fundamentally change your relationship with small amounts of money, and how to aggressively compound your own usefulness in the marketplace. We will examine the immense psychological relief of absolute honesty, the financial necessity of taking care of your biological machine, and the simple evening protocol that eliminates the friction of tomorrow. If you are willing to abandon the illusion of the big leap and instead commit to the quiet discipline of these 6 daily habits, your life will begin to change. The progress will feel incredibly slow at first, almost invisible to the naked eye. But over the course of a few years, those tiny repeated actions will compound into a massive, unstoppable momentum. You will escape the treadmill of exhaustion, lower your financial pressure, and quietly point your life in a direction you actually control. Let us begin by looking at the very first moment of your day and the most critical boundary you will ever have to defend. If you want to fundamentally change the trajectory of your life, you have to look incredibly closely at the first 60 minutes of your day. The battle for your emotional stability, your focus, and your long-term success is usually won or lost before you even leave your house. For the vast majority of ordinary hardworking people, the morning is not a time of preparation. It is a time of immediate chaotic surrender. Let us examine the downward spiral of the standard modern morning. You set your alarm for the latest possible minute to maximize your sleep. When it finally goes off, the very first action you take, while your eyes are still struggling to adjust to the light, is reaching for your smartphone. In that precise fraction of a second, you have completely handed the steering wheel of your life over to the outside world. You open your email, and instantly you are hit with a frustrated message from a client or a demanding request from your boss. You open a news application, and you are bombarded with terrifying headlines designed to harvest your anxiety. You open social media, and you immediately compare your messy, sleepy reality to the highly curated artificial highlight reels of strangers. Before your feet have even touched the bedroom floor, you are already playing defense. Your heart rate is elevated. Your cortisol levels are rising, and your mood has been entirely hijacked by other people's priorities and the algorithm's outrage. You then spend the next 40 minutes rushing frantically through your house, skipping a proper breakfast, spilling your coffee, and running out the door, already feeling like you are hopelessly behind. You arrive at your place of employment, completely depleted, operating in a state of permanent reaction. When you start your day in this defensive crouch, you spend the remaining 23 hours of the day simply bracing for the next blow. You cannot build a durable, purposeful life if your foundational operating system is panic. The first powerful daily habit that separates highly grounded individuals from the exhausted crowd is the absolute uncompromising defense of the first hour. You must consciously claim the first 45 to 60 minutes of the day as a psychological margin of safety. You must build a thick defensive wall around your mind before the corporate machine and the digital economy are legally allowed to speak to you. Executing this habit is deeply practical. It does not require you to join the extreme hustle culture. You do not need to wake up at 4 in the morning, run 10 miles in the dark, or perform a complex, exhausting series of optimization rituals. Those extreme guru routines usually just lead to severe burnout for the ordinary working parent. Defending the first hour simply means waking up just a little bit earlier than absolutely necessary, perhaps 45 minutes before the chaos usually begins. You are giving yourself the ultimate untaxed luxury of the modern world, the gift of unhurried time. But there is a strict, non-negotiable rule to this habit. You must not look at a glowing screen. You leave your smartphone on a charger in a completely different room. The world will not end because you delayed checking your inbox for 45 minutes. Instead, you use this protected window to establish a calm, deeply rooted emotional baseline. You walk into a quiet kitchen and brew a cup of coffee or tea. You sit in a comfortable chair and allow your brain to boot up naturally without the artificial electric shock of digital notifications. During this quiet time, you engage in slow, analog behaviors. You read a few pages of a physical book, something timeless that elevates your thinking rather than cheap news that degrades it. You look out the window, you enjoy the profound physical relief of existing in your own home without having to instantly produce value for an employer. And then you perform one vital act of quiet strategy. You ask yourself, what is the single most important thing I need to accomplish today? You set your own priority, giving your day a definitive direction rather than waiting for your email inbox to dictate what matters. The compounding power of this single habit is difficult to overstate. When you secure the first hour of the day, for yourself, you step out of your front door from a position of quiet strength. You are not rushing into the corporate battlefield already wounded because your nervous system is completely settled. You navigate the inevitable friction of the workday with remarkable grace. When a coworker sends a passive-aggressive message or when an unexp